Hi Josh, this is Angel from WhenInManila in the Philippines.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Makazo. I am a musician and music producer. I make dark R&B essentially. It's a very moody, sensual sort of genre that is very similar to Bryson Tiller, The Weeknd. So if you like those sorts of melodies and beats, then maybe hear me out.
Your music is actually really good. I didn't know that it's called dark R&B. That's pretty cool.
Uh,
You're still pretty young and you're already making waves. How has the journey been so far for you?
it's been a very, very, very great year, I would say. The past year has taught me a lot, but it was also a bit overwhelming because I think maybe like a year and a half ago, I had like 800 monthly listeners. Now, all of a sudden, I've very good fan base. They mean a lot to me. The messages that they send out really do impact me. And so I'm very thankful for them.
Do you have any tips for aspiring artists out there?
Like realistically, social media. Social media is great. Use it to your benefit. I remember my manager earlier on was trying to convince me to get on social media for the longest time. But I think for artists in particular, we're very picky about what we want to portray on social media, what we want to do with our art. It's not only focusing about the creative aspects of the music, but it's also the necessaries of the business. It's something to be considerate about, especially early on. Yeah.
Has it changed how you view social media or how you use social media now? Like, are you more careful now that your fan base is growing?
I used to use social media a lot. I would doom scroll on like TikTok and Instagram. But I think since I use Instagram and TikTok to post a lot and promote my music, I feel like it's like a work sort of application. And so I try to avoid it nowadays.
It took out the fun of it being like a social media platform now.
Yeah, kind of. But I think that's also a good thing because it really grounds me to get closer with my friends, my family, things that I find very important to me.
So here's the thing about your music though. So sometimes, like when you really dissect it, the lyrics can be sad to a fault, but I never
Okay.
feel sad when I listen to your music.
Hmm.
Before you had songs that had like a kind of fantasy, like dream-like feel to it, and now
Mm.
the newer stuff is little sultry. Is that intentional? In your ideal world, how are we meant to feel listening to your music?
Wow, that's a great question. That's a great question. I think with my previous works, I wanted my audience to not necessarily feel the way that I did because it was such a hard experience for me to endure and also to write within my music. Even till this day, some of my songs that I have written from my most recent EP called Before I See, it was very difficult for me to write because that EP was actually about a girl that cheated on me. What I wanted to do was, yes, write about my experience, but also hint at this sort of hope that things do eventually get better. I want to be able to help my audience get out of whatever rut that they may be in. That's one wish that I hope for my audience.
We have that as a question, like who hurt you?
I didn't want my audience to feel sad. Yeah. Not yet. The upcoming stuff though. It's a so actually this EP is called Before I See, and it's supposed to be the EP that sets up the next album called Ultraviolet. And so it's supposed to be like before I see everything in ultraviolet. That's supposed to be like the tagline for this narrative that I'm trying to play out. This is essentially just what happens before the next album.
I love it. I'm so excited. So, what
Thank you.
inspires you to create music? Do you intentionally pull inspiration from personal experiences, or do you also get inspiration from maybe stories you've heard from people around you?
Unfortunately, I do pull all of the inspiration from my experiences. And I say unfortunate because it's always about a relationship that ends terribly. I think with this particular album that I'm writing about, it was about that previous partner that I had. It was like a year and a half, something like that. And then just a immediate sense of betrayal from her. And that happened a while ago though.
You recently had a concert in Singapore. Why not the Philippines?
Why not the Philippines? I actually would love to go to the Philippines. I performed once in the Philippines, but it wasn't like a concert or anything like that. It was a very impromptu scenario. I was out with my relatives in Cebu, my relatives and friends, and then they just kept on egging me to go perform at this restaurant because they had a like a live performer there. And then they were like, "Oh, he's a musician." Go. And I was like, "Oh no." Okay, so then I just went up and then I sang. But it's such a feeling of support. Even though I'm based here in Singapore, I've Filipino fans that have come up to me, and it's always a Filipino pride. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. And so like actually being able to perform in Philippines with my relatives, it felt great. It felt great. I definitely want to go there in the future to sing a lot of my songs. Yeah.
Fingers crossed that happens sometime soon.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Do you listen to any Filipino music at all?
I did a performance in Bali and I met Maki, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, I met Maki. Super, super talented. I had the opportunity to watch him live, and his vocals are insane. Really insane. Super nice guy. Since that point on, I've just been listening to his discography. Of course, like the one that blew up, Bilal.
yeah.
Yeah, great. Amazing, amazing stuff.
Yeah, Zero Base One, and they sang Below as well. I'm like,
Oh
Below.
yeah, 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 yeah. I saw that. He posted that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reposted that. I was like, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah.
So out of your songs, what's your personal favorite and why?
Ooh, what's my personal favorite? Okay, I imagine if I have like kids in the future, it'll be like, oh, which one of your children is your favorite? It's like that sort of but okay. Honestly, to answer your question,
Maybe right now, what's your favorite?
okay, right now, what's my favorite? I would say Breathtaker. Actually, no, wait. I would say Belong to You. Belong to You is my favorite. It's off of my recent EP, Before I See, and that's because I had the same level of vulnerability in my lyrics, but it was a pop song, something that I hadn't really attempted before, but I did in this case, and it ends with the with the saxophone. I did that intentionally. I didn't have any vocals for the outro. I just wanted to leave it with the saxophone because I wanted to leave my audience to just their own thoughts. I wanted to give them space to really process the lyrics that I was talking about in the song, even though it's such a upbeat and uplifting sort of melody. Once you actually tap into the lyrics, you realize that it's kind of sad. Like it's, oh, this guy's talking about him getting cheated on, and it's like, huh? I love that song. Belong to You.
So outside of your own music, what kind of music do you actually listen to though?
I actually listen to a lot of K-pop.
Oh, that's interesting. And then you come up with like really sad music, like lyrics.
Yep. Yep, yep. What I do is I try to find seasons in which I can dedicate my ear to certain genres. I think for 1 year I would only listen to folklore type music, and then for a couple months I would only listen to country music, and then rap, R&B, dark R&B, just to expand my soundscape, something that I can be more familiar with and take from these genres. But K-pop was the genre that confused me the most. You know, it was like why did you pick that sound here? Like, structurally, why is this there? It's something that really intrigued me. I didn't like it at first, but I learned to fall in love with the production, right? Because I produce and write everything, and so it's like very genre bending in my opinion. So yeah, a lot of K-pop.
Any particular group?
espa. I listened to espa. Their recent album, Armageddon, I thought was super sick. It's not only just how they do the music, but it's how they package their entire concept. That's something that I think I try to emulate in my own works as well. Make sure that with songs, my audience feels like there's a concept attached to it. I think that's so important.
That's why you were saying like with your storytelling with your albums as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Not mess with your like music making process, like listening to genres that are completely different from yours.
No, no, no. It really doesn't. In fact, it actually makes my music a lot wider in range because I think there was a period of time where I really only made rap and hip hop. That's when I listened to a lot of rap and hip hop. But then after I started listening to more like ballads and more vulnerable songs. That's when I started to open up of my own vulnerabilities. It's something that took a long time just to get used to. And it turned out that I wrote this song called Half of My Heart. That was the first song that ever went viral for me. And I don't think that I would have even wrote that song if I hadn't expanded my listening. Just try to be open-minded to different genres. Just pick up like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I can use that here. Maybe I can use something like else there.
It's great that you can be so vulnerable with your lyrics too. Like, doesn't it scare you that your peers, or maybe, the girl who cheated on you will hear that
Mm.
like very Taylor Swift moment there?
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, it kind of does. The girl that I wrote Half of My Heart about, she actually reached out to me. Um, Half of My Heart is a song about half of my heart being still with her. It was my first love. I hadn't talked to her in years or something like that. And then she reached out and said, "Oh, congrats on your song." I don't want to get too much into that, but I'll just say it was a memory.
Do people ask though if it's about them?
I feel like that's weird.
I thought maybe that's why she reached out. She's
No, 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 no. I think she knows.
just last I just realized I didn't actually ask this. How did you get into the entertainment industry?
Oh, okay. I was really into filmmaking before, but then I realized that going into filmmaking is super expensive. All of the equipment, I think inherently I just have an affinity towards being creative and I wanted to express my emotions and I just thought to myself, why not try music? And so I was actually a music producer first. But the thing is, at that time, I was very, very, very introverted. And the thing about being a music producer is you have to network with, let's say, artists. And then it got to a point where I just had all of these beats and all of these, but I didn't want to send them out to anyone. So I was like, you know what? I'll just sing on them myself. That's how I started with making music in the first place. It's been a very, very meaningful process to me because it's a way that I can just reflect on things that I've done, actions that I've committed to. It's like journaling. Have you ever like journaled before?
In my life actually, but I'm not as, I guess, strong or confident enough to let people know about what's going on here, you know?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. But no, no, but like more so for like yourself. Like whenever I write my music, it's always because I want to like, personally heal. It's basically like journaling. Yeah, just for yourself.
But now your music is for all of us. So thank you for that.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Really, really good. And I really wish you would come to the Philippines soon.
My name is Josh Makazo. You can listen to my music on Spotify, Apple Music, and I had recently just released an EP called Before I See. I'm super excited to share this because it's a story about me getting cheated on, but with a twist, with a twist. Yeah, very excited, very excited. Please listen.